He's about 10 paces away. He reaches out his hand to you and says, "Your presence is requested."
I'm holding back sort of the racking sobs. I'll start walking forward.
He turns, and you see now that behind him there is almost like a tunnel of trees, like a sort of like arch, and create like a tunnel, a path deeper into the forest. Beams of moonlight like piercing the foliage. You don't even remember the moon being high in the sky. He beckons you in to step in, do you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm special. I'm special. And I'm finally, they've called me to the other place. I'm going to be a princess. I'm special. And I go.
And as you walk forward, this person who's guiding you there, who's leading you there, he says, "You are a dead thing. You must not make eye contact with him."
There are always rules. There are always rules.
And he takes you further in.
I say quietly, "Do I get a pretty dress?"
And he says nothing, but puts his metallic hand on your shoulder and strokes your neck and shoulder as if to say something like that.
Oh, yes.
And pushes you further in. And he takes you to like a throne room of sorts, but very organic, like lots of trees and vines and things, like, you know, kind of racing up along like sort of makeshift organic walls. And there are dragonflies and a really, really strong herbaceous smell, just like pungent, right? And very, very like old cobbles set in the ground, like an old stone courtyard or pavilion of some sort, right? And there's a dais and there's a throne, and you see your classmate Thomas, but not quite Thomas. It's Thomas, but like a little different. His ears are a little pointier. His eyes are somehow like bigger, it seems. His cheekbone's a little higher, but it's still fundamentally Thomas. And he has what appears to be like a twisted driftwood crown on his head, and basically nothing else. He's maybe got like just a bit of like sort of wispy cobweb-like material, like, you know, over his body. It kind of strategically covers different parts of his body, but otherwise he looks pretty naked. What do you do?
There's probably that bit, that wisp, just a moment recollection of the classroom bit with the man in yellow trying to get me together with Thomas, and my reaction against that. I've died since then. That's all gone. It's just like a flash before it goes away. And I go forward. This is the prince. He's going to love me.
He stands up and he steps down to be on your level.
I look away.
He says, "Good." And he begins to like kind of like circle around you, right? Like he's appraising you, right? As he kind of circles around. And he says, "You're a dead thing. I have my eyes on a dead thing, but not you. But you'll be good practice. I need to see what this is like. Do you understand what I'm saying?"
I'm special. I'm special. 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 I'm special.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I need to know what's going to happen if I lay with a dead thing. But if it doesn't go well, he kind of like stretches his arms a little bit. Well, let's just say I'm not really that concerned with what you think about me. We're going to lay together. Do you understand what I mean by that? Lay together?
Yeah.
Good. And then he like holds his hand out, like, and he says, "You may express your gratitude now."
I I guess I'll take his hand. Now I'm starting to have some momentary regrets, but there's a fairy kingdom around me. That's fine. Everything's fine.
Indeed. And he's like waiting as you're holding his hand. He's like, he coughs impatiently.
I kiss it?
He's like, good. I'm gonna spend. He has a string on you. I'm gonna spend it. You get an XP if you sleep. If you sleep with him right now.
Oh yeah,
under his terms.
There is no question of that. She needs affirmation desperately. Physical contact, emotional contact, even abusive emotional contact. That is what she needs to be acknowledged.
Coming out of the darkness are a number of his attendants, all of them covered in this metal mesh and holding in their hands another metal mesh suit. And another has like what appears to be like a sort of bladed hook and shears. And we just see them swarm you. And we'll cut there. Then Margot, after you like are done consoling your mom, it's pretty late at night at this point. Where would you go? What would you do?
Well, taking care of Dad. Now there's the idiot who shot me in the head that I need to settle some scores with. I think I will attempt to gaze into the abyss to sense where Chad is, to find that scent I can follow.
I'm into it. Where do you go? Like, how do you gaze in the abyss? Is the classic like howling at the moon or what?
I think what we see is Margot's outside and she's just kind of walking in circles and stops and pauses and takes huge deep sniffs and kind of going in a expanding spiral. Seems very deliberately trying to catch a scent. Anyone who would just even walk by would be like, figure out that she's trying to smell something or see which way a smell's coming from. It's real obvious.
I'm into it. You can take dark +1 because of your special.
So 7, just squeaked it out. Confusing and alarming visions.
Or she's going to be able to track you guys for sure, right? So how do you think that encounter might go, just out of character? Like, what are you thinking? Like, she's going to confront Chad and probably hurt Chad, right? I mean, that's a definite. I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. So
like, I think what I want to do is try to diffuse the situation, because like I still imagine it's like building up a bunch of people together, and like Chad and Margot are against each other, but like from what Serena can tell is they shouldn't be against each other, even though like their animosity towards each other isn't really animosity towards other people, and so they should be like working together rather than against each other. Like, and so I'm going to like try to bring them together, even though the first part of it might not work out well, but like get them to essentially all be more on the same side to try to go after whoever else, whether that's Bellefontaine or the big man or Jonah or somebody else.
Here's your vision, Margot, because you're kind of like imprinted on Chad or whatever. Like you can hone in on Chad. I don't think we even need to gaze into the abyss for that necessarily. Okay. But I do think you're going to get a sense of something. You are walking around, you suddenly like find yourself in a place that you didn't expect to be. And you suddenly find yourself in the middle of what appears to be a church. A strange place to find yourself suddenly, randomly. There is the stained glass, there are the benches and all that stuff, right? And then a woman steps next to you, a nun, actually, an older nun. She's probably about like, I don't know, she's gonna be like in her late 40s or early 50s maybe. And she takes your hand and she holds it carefully. And she turns so you can face her, and she says, "I'm coming, dear."
The fuck?
And her left hand is kind of like fallen away or fallen down by her side. And you see like in her hand, she has like a big, big, sharp wooden stake.
I think you're looking for someone else, sister.
She's like,
I can guide you.
She's like, at this moment, yes. But you're next. Don't worry. And it just cuts from there. Let's just go straight to that. I want you. Where do you eventually find Serena and Chad and Ben?
What I'd like would be, since I've been walking around, is to actually see Chad's Camaro coming down the street, and I come out of an alley and I just step right in front of it and put my hands on the hood, and Chad can wig out since he was pretty sure he killed me, and then we can go from there.
Nice. Yeah, he's freaking out. He pulls a gun out of the glove compartment. He wasn't smart enough to toss the murder weapon. He grabs the gun. He gets out. He trains the gun on Marco as Marco's coming up the street. What do you do, Serena?
Oh, I totally get out of the car and like put myself between Margot and Chad with probably the gun like pointing like directly at me, and I'm like, you don't want to do this.
Super cool.
Yeah. I got a 7.
You have a shaken condition. I think what's going to happen here is I think you're starting to have that little flash, that little moment of what was essentially kind of a terror of when Mr. Thompson pulled the gun on you in the car, right? And this is another instance of like a trigger happy dude who does not have control of his own faculties and who in the face of losing his grip on his power, like just lashes out, right? Like it's when people like him are most dangerous, right? And when they feel their status, their power, their authority slipping through their fingers, you're gonna keep it together. But I think he just, I'm gonna go with unnoticed. I think he just pushes past you. He's like, just get the fuck out of the way, Serena. He pushes past you, like still training the gun on Marco. So then what do you do?
Like as he pushes past me, I think I like tackle him from behind. It's sort of the like, you're not going to ignore me. Like my goal with the tackle is really to like knock the gun away, like to like kind of even if there is fighting, it will be not as high risk type thing. So even if there's some like lashing out physically, it's not with the gun, like he gets knocked under the car or something like that.
Yeah. I think if we do lash out physically, I think what makes the most sense is that like if he chokes up, that before you can react, that gives you a chance to get the gun out of the way, right?
Cool.
So,
Perfect.
So good roll.
Let's try that with my terrible volatile stat. Hey, I still got an 8. Cool.
Okay, so let's see here. On 7-9, you harm them, but choose one.
I think I want to learn them to learn something about my true nature, and he can have a string on me. So like maybe like something about like my vampiric nature comes out like when I do this.
Like what? Like just give me the scene. Like what happens?
Yeah, so like I think like he pushes past me, and I think maybe I just moved too fast. Like I knocked the gun out of his hands. There's that like freeze frame moment, like as I'm knocking it out. Like, so if this were the CW show, like you'd see it over from his like point of view as like I have one hand like knocking the gun out, but like I'm staring at him, and you can see like the fangs like coming out at me as like I'm hissing at him to like, this is not what you were supposed to be doing type thing, as like the gun gets knocked out and then like it speeds back up and like I'm suddenly behind him again, but he's not holding the gun type thing.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, he saw that.
Yeah, he stops. Like the situation's under control. Marco, what do you do?
So, gonna shoot a girl twice on the same day, huh, Chad? Really nice. And you, I look over at Serena, shouldn't you be like off murdering some little children or something like that? Or crawling back into your grave? I know what you are. I can smell it. I've seen it. Now I'm going to be advancing on Chad, looking extremely pissed off.
You don't want to do this, Margot. You don't need to do this.
Oh, I want to do it.
Let's cut there. Ellen, what's your sex move? You both get to ask a question of one another. This can be asked in character or player to player. They must answer honestly and directly.
Oh, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So he mentioned the dead thing, the thing that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Because I will need to kill her.
It is, yeah. I think like you're going to learn this in the middle of your passion, right? He whispers your name, or her name rather, a couple times. He says, Serena. You like are covered in a metal mesh suit, right? And I think he like whispers your name, Serena, and like you can tell like during this transaction, it's very like like adventurous or dangerous for him, right? Like as he's like making love to you, as he's fucking you, he like occasionally has to stop, and like his servants have to come and like check on him to make sure he's okay, right? Like they give him food and drink. He's cool, that he's like whole, and then he goes back in, right? Like it's a bit of like a long, torturous process almost, right, for him. But in the end, he feels like super like he's conquered something, right? Like he's really, really gone beyond his comfort zone, so to speak. And but he's said her name more than once.
That's right. Now I know.
And my question for you is, what are your true feelings for Thomas right now?
I think she knows deep down that he's a hollow object. Deep in her, she's doing the same thing with him as he is doing with her, but she can't admit it because she has to dress everything up in being special and romantic, and this is the one, and I have to, because that's what you do. That's how you keep away the darkness.
Yeah, good. When it's over, I think he goes back up to his little throne, and his servants all come, and they all sit down around him, and he's kind of like slumped into the chair, spent, exhausted, his driftwood crown slightly askance on his head, right? And he eventually like kind of gives himself over to the others in a way. Like they begin to like touch his body. They start like at his feet, and then they like move up his legs and up his chest into his arms and his hands, and they're like touching his body, and like it's almost like they're getting like a secondary experience. Like they're getting the experience like secondhand that he had, right? He's giving that to them as a gift for their good service, right? And I think the scene just sort of recedes from there, right? Like it all just becomes smaller and smaller in your vision. And Jonah, would you have gone up to the woods to find Thomas, or where would you go?
Yeah, so we went to the pond.
Nice.
Which is the place where, I first entered the fairy realm, because the pond became a portal after Lilith had her thing going on. And so I think what we do is we go there, and we're doing like our little ritual thing where we smear the mud on each other. Basically, what I want from Thomas is to let me into Fae realm, or for him to come visit me, so that we can talk about what I can do about Margot.
Brody sees her first, and Brody's like, oh shit. And Ellen just stumbles out of the woods. She's wearing no clothes. Her hair is like shorn, like really, it's not bald, but it's like cut down to like nothing, right? It's like it's like in Rosemary's Baby, what's her name? Like Mia Farrow. Like choppy haircut, right? As she stumbles out of the woods. This is not a good look for you guys to be out here with this young girl who's come out of the woods, like, in this circumstance. What do you do?
I take Rhodey's jacket. I just run over and throw it on her. And I'm like, Ellen, are you okay?
I probably need I need to go home.
I'm going to ask, I'm going to communicate to Thomas, basically, that we need, like, his car here to take her home.
Do you want to give Thomas a string?
Yeah.
You put a jacket around Ellen, and, like, all that stuff is going on. Maybe, like, 10 or 15 minutes later, there's, like, a honking, like, up the ridge, right? Boop, 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 boop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
We're all dressed again at this point, and we head up to the ridge, and I turn to Ellen, and I'm like, what are you doing out here? I think what I say is, I'm like, you have to be really careful out in the woods. There's a lot of dangerous people, dangerous freaks who like to come and do weird shit out here. Meanwhile, we were just
probably not putting that together. She just has the jacket on, but she's not shivering because she doesn't get cold. But she'll say, He rescued me.
Who rescued you?
You know.
He's like looking at your head that's all shaved and
the rough marks where the metal was on, where it's probably cut, the burrs of it cut into the skin. And
I'm imagining you look a little roughed up, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
If somebody comes along, it will look like I've been assaulted by you guys.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I think what I do is I'm gonna actually pull out my phone, or actually I probably tell Rhodey to do it because Rhodey was in contact with it. I want to tell Rhodey to call Agent Bellefontaine.
No, not him. Not him. Not him. No, just take me home. Just take me home. It's what Thomas would want.
Thomas? Oh God. And
speak of the devil, he's there with his BMW.
I walk up to the window and knock on it.
He rolls it down. He's like, what the fuck? Like, this is the, what, 4th, 5th time today I've had to come pick you up somewhere in the vicinity of the woods. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, Thomas, you've got the car.
Yeah.
I don't have a car.
Right. That's because you're poor. Let's see. How are we going to fit this whole motley crew into my car? And he looks and he sees, like, you got Rhodey, you got Tony, he's like, and what the hell is she doing here?
And I turn to Ellen, and I kind of think she's kind of crazy. So even though she said Thomas's name, I'm not sure there's actually anything that happened with Thomas. And I turn back to him, and I'm like, I don't know. She looks like someone messed with her. So I think we should just make sure she gets home.
Okay, yeah. This one's gonna cost you, Jonah. That's all I gotta say. This one's gonna cost you. I don't like to be bothered in the middle of the night.
All right, it's fine. I want her home, and I really don't want her here. Like, this place is not for her.
He's like, well, all kinds of weird things happen in the forest. Who can say who it's for?
Yeah, and it's about time that we do start saying who it's for. And it's for us, and not Ellen, and not Serena, and definitely not Margot. So, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. But when it's time, I want to talk to you about the Margot problem, because we haven't forgot what she did to Dawn. And one way or another, Dawn's going to get justice.
He's like, right. I don't know why I let you talk to me this way. I really don't. If you were anyone else, you'd be in a hell of a lot of pain right now.
I'm going to pull a string on him to give him the condition befuddled with Jonah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And yeah, so does he like give her a ride home?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. I want to have that car ride, but we'll come back to it. Margot, Serena, the situation, the two of you staring each other down, the dark street, Mercy Falls. What do you do?